before I move on to Africa.
Okay.
You guys are talking about this is happening. What part of it do you think might be at the intersection of anti-Black racism too? Do you think that some of your other classmates or your other employees get a little bit more flexibility? And I think I see Jay's hand. Is that right, Jay? And Colleen. Some you can. I
Yes,
think. Okay.
you saw my hand, and yes, I think that is correct because my white disabled friends, especially disabled men, I feel like they get more respect and more people listening to them because when I'm out with my white disabled friends, I don't get strangers like asking them if they what if they need help, if they want them to touch their hair. I don't get people trying to pet them. Like people don't pet my white disabled friends like dogs like they do with me sometimes, and I feel like because I'm so loud and because I'm so in the community, that also puts another target on your back, so to speak. Because when people know that you're loud and they know what you stand for, they'll do things to you and then backtrack and be like, I never did that. Oh, we helped you with this. And I'm like, did you though? Did you really? Because when I came to you asking for this, you didn't help us. But when my white disabled friend asked for the same thing, they always find some way to figure it out for them. And my white disabled friends too, I feel like they are just genuinely more respected. And when I'm out in society existing as I am, I get all these comments that my other disabled friends don't normally get. Like, they'll get stares and everything, but it's different when you're Black, queer, and non binary and disabled and trying to exist. And I can't stand it when this is off topic a bit, but I can't stand it when, like, cause hearing about what Kalia said about her being hard of hearing, um, I had this ASL prof once who was a white, non-deaf man, like he wasn't hard of hearing, and he was teaching ASL and had the nerve to tell me the goal, the caucasity, as I call it, to tell me that I wouldn't make it past ASL 2 because I can't sign with both my hands at any given time because my left side is just weaker, and he was like, oh, we've accommodated you, whatever, whatever. And I went to my accommodation office and they were like, oh, he can't do anything else for you. And I was just like, okay, and then dropped the course. So I can't fully understand where Kalia is coming from because obviously I'm a hearing person, but I can understand the differing levels of discrimination on various aspects because I've tried to take ASL with deaf profs, I've tried to take ASL with hearing profs, and I just feel like I feel icky when non-deaf people and non-hard of hearing people are teaching ASL or teaching things like music when they they don't know the differing aspects that affect us. I know I talk a lot, and I know y'all are gonna be tired of me, but this is just where I
This
am.
is Jay. Nobody's tired of you. We love you. We love all of you. And we want every young adult, youth, adult to feel comfortable in a space they can talk their truth. So thank you for bringing this truth to us. Thank you all. I do have Africa who'd like to comment on the question as well. So Africa, what are your thoughts?
Thank you for, I know we all have a lot to say. Also quickly, I obviously didn't get the memo with the background, so please, all y'all just accept my little, what do they call quinceañeras, or, the holiday spirit. But yeah, getting back to the question, I will try to keep it concise because I know we have so much more to get into. However, this is particularly a very important question for me, so I do want to try to answer it in a wholehearted way. So you all know, I'm coming at things from, I love the diversity here in disability alone on the ranges. Where I'm coming from is a very mental health lens. Also, sorry if I'm speaking very quickly too. But from the mental health lens, one of my biggest challenges, I'm in my 30s, so I have lived a little bit of life. And in my early 20s, 2011, I had a mental health break. I had a complete, how do you say, I had, to say it kind of quickly, I had gotten the internship that I dreamed of. I was making, more money than I knew what to do with. I was, I had been doing good in my courses. I was checking off all the boxes of, this is life, I'm in university, I'm getting these step by steps. I'm going to make something, I'm going to this with myself. And honestly, the stresses of it, as well as cultural factors, family and whatnot, just broke me. I'm not in my journey where I go around saying diagnoses specifically, but I do try my best to let people know, overall, I had a mental health break. I had gone through a manic type of period. I had been hospitalized. Yes, it was extremely traumatic. And rebuilding myself was a feat in itself. I don't want to dwell too much on all the nitty gritty, but some major parts ended up being even more than the break itself was the aftermath. And again, if you don't know particularly mental health realm stuff, this might be sounding a little off the cuff, but so I can give a little perspective to it for everybody. When you go to a hospital and someone has broke their leg or broken their arm, there's usually, I might be wrong, but usually there's a gift center at the bottom of the hospital. You might buy flowers, you might buy chocolates, you might something and bring it up to the person. When you're in a mental health ward, that's not a reality. You'd be lucky if someone's visiting you. And honestly, I have such an amazing family. And this is a little hard for me to kind of admit because I don't, I know there's like hundreds on this call and I'm just saying some of my piece, but it's not the same kind of experience. Getting out of there, I was there for about a month or so, but the trauma definitely left a little bit of residue. And severe depression was what in 2012 I was dealing with the most. Severe depression, people are worried about me, period. And particularly catatonia was something I was dealing with. And not everyone might know this, but being catatonic is being sluggish, being hard of responding, not kind of not really cluing into things. It was completely learned, how do I say? There was a period where I would go to my mother and be joyous because I had maybe carried a 2-minute conversation. So being able to speak to you all right now is something at one point in my life I had to completely relearn. And finally, I'm gonna bring it kind of full scope with school. Me returning back to school, one of the things that stood out the most was that despite being hospitalized, particularly the second time when it came to mental health, I was faced with doctors that, no shade to them, I think they were doing their best, but because of what they understood of capabilities once someone has a break like this, they looked at me like I had no future. I know this may not be what they meant, but that there is no going up from here, that you are just going to try your best to maintain what you have and be lucky if you get a job, you'll be lucky if you this, you'll be lucky if you that. That's how I saw the rest of my future. And there was a period where one of my doctors had said to me, "Oh, I heard you finished the course." And I had to kind of correct him in saying, actually, I finished 3. And he was kind of stunned because, again, the expectation was, oh, you're being functional. Like, I can't believe you're actually functioning at a level that we just don't tend to see. And I know why they say that, because often the hospital that I was at, when I went the second time, yes, you do see the same faces sometimes. Some people, it's not always a happy ending where you get out. I think everyone thinks you get unwell and you get out of it. Some people, the honest truth is they may not. They may, and that looks differently for everyone. And maybe there's wins in different areas that I'm not seeing, but I'm just saying it's not always a happy ending, happy story. Let's just be real, you know? So what I'm finally revamping all of this to say is, I hear you. I know I'm saying your name probably not wrong, but Oreo, when it comes to things like you're too functional, you're too managing, you're too, how are you doing this? It does not mean I am not struggling every step of the way. Every minute, every second, I am battling my mind, I'm battling thoughts, I am battling challenges. I am just doing what often sometimes is Blackness. I'm carrying on despite, in spite of it. Again, similar to you, Kellina, I'm carrying on in spite. It doesn't mean I'm not struggling, so I could go on my rant forever. I'm not going to bore you all with like the nitty gritties. But what I want to say is, I did finish school. I did graduate. I did accomplish these things that they didn't see for me. And I had to start painting my own future. And with mental health, there's often the term recovery, which is sometimes feels like a death sentence, because recovery, when does recovery end? No one says the end of recovery and you get to thrive. No one tells you about thriving. I had to see examples to thrive. I had to see my own people. I had to see people like Liza, even though I didn't know her back then, but there were people like her that I could start putting little things to say, oh, wait, the world's not done. You have a future. It's not over. You don't, they may think it's over for you, but you're just starting your story. And I don't want to be defined by what happened to me, but it definitely propelled me in a direction. And I hope that was a concise response. And, this is lovely.
That was excellent. All of you are excellent. I wish we were all in one room. We will hope to do this hybrid next year. We have to all be in a space. So, other than being resistors and champions of that liberation, there's a few things, and you just jumped off of that, Africa, which is perfect. What do you want? Let's just name it. What do you need? What has to happen? We're here. You have government people here listening. You have people that run disability organizations. You have Black people that run Black organizations. You got parents. You got people like me, lots of people like me. I have my pen ready. What do you want to be able to change all this? And it doesn't have to be, is it doable? Just, we'll start, and tell me who wants to go first?
I could jump off of mine and we keep working off of it. Like, you
All
guys
right.
okay with that?
Let's go.
Okay, so what do I want? That's a good question. You know how many people don't really actually know? Sometimes they ask you that in a very belittling way. No offense. You go to like a psychiatrist and they say, well, what do you want? And you're like, I'm not 100% sure I'm coming for the aid, but if I'm getting on a real level, what I want is to be seen, to actually be heard. And I know that's not easy for everyone because they don't have the lived experience. They may not get it. And I get that, but I do think you can extend human decency. I would like to believe you can extend human understanding, that you can take a second to be like, just like we're all saying, to not jump first to how fake is this or how unreal is this, or not jump first to how can I disregard your claims first and tell you about yourself, and just really take in I'm not going to speak for everyone, but what I'm saying, just listen to the words and believe me just for a second. I know you have all your schooling and your degrees and so forth, and how I know it's easy to want to put someone in the system in a box and fully understand them and just check boxes, but we're not check boxes. We're not our diagnoses, as was eloquently said earlier. We are so much more. We are dynamic and complex human beings. And maybe it just comes down to the funding. Maybe they just don't have the time to do all that extra, but we need that extra because we're not cogs in a wheel. We are multifaceted, we're complex. And to serve us is to serve a complex challenge. And so respect it as such.
Thank you. Thank you, Africa. Now I see Kellina, your hand is up.
I would say for two things. I never, Africa, you said it. No one really asked me that. What do you need? You got to think about it for a little bit. For me, I would say the funding I would need. The thing I would need is funding. So I feel like we need more funding for disability people who want to start their own business. I know so many disabled people who want to start it, but they don't have the funding because ODSP is not covering for them, or they don't have enough after they pay their bills. That's number one. And number two, I would like the education system to start making sign language as a priority. Just because for me, myself, part of hand person, I did learn sign language when I was younger, but when I got older, I was forced to communicate verbally with a lot of people around me because no one knew sign language. And so I feel like if ASL can be taught just like French, it's needed, that would be super, super amazing for me and my community, just because I see my community very isolated, just because no one knows basic sign language.
I'm going to speak to that too. Thank you so much, Kellina, because one of the things that Shay has discovered, especially with newcomers or immigrants who are here, again, you're pushed to read lips and you're pushed to not sign, or you have families and communities that don't sign ASL. We've had to hire a Nigerian to sign for someone. We've had people that sign in Jamaican Sign Language, which is Patois. And we realize that we're missing an entire community. And we all know that to be a sign language person, it's education, which is, again, many times outside the realm of our communities. So I love your specific request, and putting it in curriculum like any other language is a great idea. Who else's hand is up? Jay.
I guess people are just calling on me now. Okay. It's okay, Liz. I love you. It's fine. Anyway, for me, this is a heavy question, so I just like for us all to take a collective deep breath. I also think that sign language should be a mandatory part of the curriculum, because as a kid, I have ADHD. I just got diagnosed over the summer, and as a kid, I hated French, I hated math, still do. It's confusing for someone with a neurodiverse brain. It really is hard when you're spicy in your body and in your brain. So, I hated both French and math, and I would have loved to be taught sign language instead, because I feel like that's less confusing. And if people sign to me, I know a lot. Like, I've retained a lot from watching other people sign and from doing my own research, because I run a Facebook group for disabled queer people. So I have had to step outside of myself and do my own research for a lot of things. So what do I want? I would like for sign language to be mandatory, for there to be more jobs and opportunities for me to not just survive but thrive. I would love for ODSP for the support from ODSP to not always be needed, because I feel like they're just putting us all in poverty anyway. So if we had enough support to not need ODSP, I feel like our lives would be so much easier, because the amount of times I'm on the phone with them, having to call them to see if they got my messages, numerous messages, to see what it is that they cover, because the stuff that they cover isn't always accessible on the website. I would also like clear and concise information when it comes to banking and like the accessibility button on websites, so I can have things read to me so it's easier for me to process without missing words, because I miss sentences and words a lot because of ADHD stuff. So I'll read something and then miss a sentence, and read something and miss a sentence, and the cycle continues. And I feel like if we made access for everyone, not just the lucky few, people all over the diaspora benefit from access of all kinds. Disabled people were the ones that started the need for access, but non-disabled people still benefit from it. So there's nothing wrong with making things accessible to everyone, so that we don't have to jump through hoops. I would also love for people to ask us more often what we do need, because we don't ever get those types of questions in our communities, and I feel like that's why a lot of us don't know the answer, because nobody cares to ask us, and I don't have the spoons, the energy, or the time to be like, I need this, that, that, because I need pretty much everything. I'm not I don't care about being rich or famous. I just want to be comfortable and have my basic needs met, and also have the money to do the things that bring me joy without having to jump through hoops and worry about, do I buy food today, or do I go and do this other thing that needs to be done that's productive? Like ODSP doesn't cover slings. So for those of us who need a sling and lift to transfer, like I have to buy my own sling out of my own pocket, and those cost hundreds of dollars. Okay, hundreds. And my mom also doesn't have that kind of money to help me, because she's a single parent and works like 3 or 4 jobs just to pay for mortgage, because it'd be hard out here. And she has my 2 youngest siblings at home, and my brother in his first year of university. And so I don't ask her for anything, because I know my youngest siblings need stuff, and if they need it, I'm not taking it away from them. I'll figure it out. But my siblings are my life. My friends are my life. So if any of them need anything, I'd be more likely to help them before myself. But I just want to have the what I need to be able to get what I need, and still give back to my community, who has fed me, who has clothed me, who has given me everything and every opportunity I have. I just want to give back and make the world a better place for everyone. And I don't think it's that the government doesn't have the resources to help us. they just don't allocate them properly.
Exactly.
Like,
Sorry, Jay. Exactly. And I'm seeing comments about what is our model for a Shea, etc. I have to let everybody know here that that intersection of race, disability, gender identity, sexuality is still a hard thing for bureaucrats, ministers, funders to understand. We have applied for every intersectional funding off of a report that Janelle and I wrote called the Capacity Building Research Project. White-led organizations got the money to work with Black community. Now, most recently, a couple Black organizations that don't do disability have got the money to work with disability. We have received nothing. It doesn't matter who we apply to, how many research projects we do on the backs of volunteers. So you tell me, are people afraid of us?
They just don't allocate the
For us.
resources properly, and they're more likely to fund multiple genocides all over the world
Okay. Well,
than to fund us to be able to live. And they're causing more people to be disabled and then getting mad when they come here and need support because they've been in insane, unthinkable situations of genocide. And they come here for refuge, and people get mad at them for needing refuge and being so intersectional. Like, that's where our tax dollars are going. And you're getting mad that they're coming back here because they need help after you made them flee their own country.
so Jay, I want all of you to talk your truth. That is absolutely a reality. And if people want to see a Shea statement on it, we are in line with a free state for Palestine. That's it. Now, what do you need? So the government has pools of money. They have pools of money for Blackness, which we didn't get. They have pools of money for disability, which we don't get. They have pools of money for accessible standards, which we don't get. They have pools of money for education. What do you need? What do you want? I'm asking you. And guess what, everybody? This is what the breakout rooms are going to do. So you don't have to have the ideas right now, but there will be a breakout room. There will be a youth-focused town hall. There is a national coalition coming. There will be opportunities for people to get together to kind of strategize. And you want to know what people will be leading it? Does anybody want to say who should be leading this work? Should it be organizations serving us? Or should it be who? One of you, tell me who needs to be at the
We
table.
need to be serving us. Us.
We.
WE. Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that we are added on at the end. It doesn't mean that we are consulted at the end of a project. And it doesn't mean that the Black community does disability for us. And it doesn't mean the disability community gets to do disability on us. It means young leaders like yourselves are in positions to tell the truth. And whether they like it or not, you exist and we love you because I love myself. And each and every one of us love ourselves. And for some reason, society has decided we shouldn't be doing that. But we do. And we are here. And anybody that's participating, anybody that comes from this community, anybody that wants to be an ally, I hope you're hearing us. These are our leaders. You know, my time will come up. We need to build young people, Black disabled leaders. And they need to be built by Black disabled leaders, supporting them. They need to be leading Black disabled things, not as an add-on. You can't give money to an organization to do Black work when their board is white. You have to have a Black board who has disabilities. You can't expect that this wonderful new, and one of the people here are talking about that new I can't remember what she said it was, but in university, now there's an approach for persons with disabilities, and there's an entire section on intersectionality. But it seems that it's not being applied because, again, intersectionality is a tag on. But all of you have done a brilliant job explaining it's all us. We are it. We don't wake up in the morning and pick which identity. We don't decide to show up as a disabled person. We don't decide to show up as somebody who's going to have to ask for accommodations and then be embarrassed and shamed or out of a job. We are not, how many of you are entrepreneurs? Have dabbled in entrepreneur, every one of you. Why do we dabble in entrepreneurship? Because employment is so difficult, and because we're so creative, we find a path. A Shay's paper will be coming out in the new year on entrepreneurship and Black disabled Canadians. And it has never been done in Canada. And so what the lesson today is, if you are doing work for this community, you need to step back, get out of the way, and let us at those tables. If you want to support us with all your expertise, because you have it, we don't, we're not connected to all these places, then please partner with us, collaborate with us. Let's get this done together, because this panel, what Janelle said earlier, well, how we are treated as Black disabled people is not okay, and we will not be continuing. I'll even have to say something. Just the other day, 30 million went to disability organizations from a foundation, name unknown, a foundation. 30 million. Not a dollar went to us. We didn't even know about it. Not a dollar went to disability without poverty. Nope, not a dollar went to race and disability. Do you see the burden? But the same money to the same organizations keep getting the same to do the same that leave us in a position based on where we are. One last thought, because I know, and then I'm just gonna have you guys answer a couple questions. What do you want? One thing that if there's somebody in this audience that is leading a disability organization, is leading an accessibility place in a school, is a government official who designates money or writes policy, is an educator. What do you want? One thing from each of you. And it's not what you want, it's what you demand, because it's your right.
I don't think Oreo, I'm sorry, I know I'm messing up the name. I don't think you got the answer yet, did you?
Oh yeah, not yet. I don't have any answers really anymore. Everybody on said it really. Not even a bad thing. It was wonderful. I had a great time listening. I would
Culture.
say, yeah, I
What
would
about
say
what about
initializing
culture?
it. Oh, culture. Yeah, one thing I was thinking about when we were talking about this was, it's funny that this is a Blackness and Disability panel, because I don't know if people are aware that a bunch of Black Canadians are fighting the Canadian government for over 40 years of anti-Black discrimination in government positions. So we trying to get disabled Black people seeing it in Canada, and the Canadian government has put like millions of our taxpayer money into denying the fact that they were anti-Black for 40 years to us. Even though they released a report that let us know. They didn't have to release the report, and now they're literally fighting against fighting us. Oh man. So yeah, I don't know where they should allocate the money. They have the money, they just refuse to initiate the policies properly. So maybe we should stop getting people to write policies and start implementing them. Like it has to be actionable. That's the thing, is like, maybe you got to drag a CEO by their collar and put them in front of the policy and be like, line number 4.1 AB says this, act on it. Because you're throwing money in our face, but we're not accessing it. We don't even want the money. We want you to use the money to buy the resources and equip us with the equitable things that we need to move forward. I don't want your money. I want access to the things that can give me my money. Like, I want to be independent.
Yeah, we want to be independent. And you said something at the very beginning, which is, I'm smart. And the fact that we have to qualify ourselves as Black disabled people to resist all the stereotypes of anti-Black racism, gender-based discrimination, and ableism is our living reality. Because somebody caught me saying, I used to be smart before I got sick. And that is a sad thing to say, but that is how I feel.